A Fox 5 News alert, a federal judge extending the deadline again on how long federal employees have to decide on the buyout offer from the Trump administration. This comes as protests continue across the region at federal buildings and as some workers return to the office full time. Tom Fitzgerald's live here at the White House tonight, where we saw another it's going on right now behind you, Fitz.
Yeah, this started about an hour ago, Jim. We are just across the street from the White House at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Now, some of you may remember this was created back in 2008 during the Obama administration. Its mission was to, protect Americans from unfair banking practices. Well, these employees and demonstrators have been out here for about an hour right now. They've had some members of Congress out here as well, protesting an order from the White House to stop nearly all of its work, effectively shutting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau down. Now, this comes on the same day that a U.S. District Court judge heard arguments in a lawsuit up in Boston brought by federal unions to stop President Trump's buyout of federal employees. Now, that federal judge ultimately decided today to extend that temporary restraining order for the offer to federal workers. That was set to expire at midnight tonight. This is all part of the White House's efforts to reduce the size of the federal workforce. There are more protests up at Social Security headquarters in Maryland today, but the White House has said all along its efforts, DOGE, the buyouts, the spending freezes, they say it's to save taxpayer dollars.
Because this has nothing to do with government efficiency. If you wanted to make the federal government more efficient, you would not start by firing all the inspector generals at all the federal agencies.
This is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board.
Now, while some workers are finding themselves locked out of their office, some workers wound up back into their offices. Case in point, the Navy Yard today, where thousands of federal workers were told they had to be back into their desks and their offices today. Now, that created a bit of a deluge of traffic this morning. There were concerns about whether or not there were going to be enough parking spaces. The commander of that base actually sent out notices to federal workers telling them it would be best to use public transportation, ride sharing, or metro. Ultimately, he tells Fox 5 today, he says he thinks those warnings were heeded and they were able to get everybody to work today without any incident.
We did have some heavier traffic this morning that started earlier than it typically does, but we got a lot of our folks in place to make sure we could handle that flow. The one thing that we really can't do much about is capacity for parking inside the base.
All right, so back live now here at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This protest, again, has been going on for about an hour. In addition to the federal unions that were part of this lawsuit in Boston today, they were joined by Maryland's Democratic Attorney Anthony Brown, the Attorney General of the state, as well as 21 Attorney Generals from across the country. We're live in Northwest tonight. We'll send it back into you.